Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, and I'm grateful to be with you today to talk to you about, are stars born or made? So what's the answer? We're going to find out. I'm going to talk about this. A lot of people are out there that would love the idea of impacting more people's lives as light leaders, as spiritual rock stars, and yet they feel like maybe it's not meant for them. But are you cut out to be a spiritual rock star? Are you cut out to be a big time star in the world? Do you have it in your natal chart, your design chart, your whatever chart you want to talk about? And if you don't, does that mean you can't be a star? So we're going to get into it in just one moment. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today. So are stars born or are they made? So I've been with this question for a long time, just out of just a curiosity, one of the many questions in life, right? Like, are people that become really famous, particularly really well known and impact a lot of people's lives, is it just like in their chart? You know, if we look in their chart, will we find that it's in there? Probably if we look at the charts, the charts will say they were born to be stars. But you know what? Those same charts, we look at those charts of many people that are not famous and not making the big impact. In many of those charts, we see people that are born to be stars, but they're not stars. And I'm talking about whatever charts you like looking at, astrological natal charts, or talking about human design, or whatever thing we're looking at, okay? All those different type of things. There's so many people, it's in there. You're meant to be this thing, and then you aren't at that level. So, or you never get to that level in this lifetime. So it's in many of your charts. And even if it wasn't, I am not a big believer in the idea that if the idea of being on the spotlight, being a star in the world, making that so-called bigger impact, whatever that means to you. But I feel making a bigger impact means that you're up-leveling your game of visibility and valuing what you have to bring and then bringing it. Whatever that means, whether you're reaching, billions of people or millions of people or whatever, or you're making a massive difference in 100 people's lives this next year, or you're going to have 10 really high level clients and you're a star in that way, and you're making a, big 6-figure revenue, or, multi 6-figure maybe, or 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever it is, I don't care. But it's that sense of being a star, you're in the spotlight. Those things happen usually when people are choosing it. I know there's stories of stars who say, I never knew I'd become famous. I really don't believe them, to tell you the truth. So like Oprah is a good example, at least from what I've heard. Maybe I haven't heard enough of her story, I'll confess to that, but that's possible. But she makes it sound like, or depressed does, or whatever, like, oh, she just kind of was this news person, then she got a show and it just kind of blew up and she became famous, and she had no idea she could ever end up having that kind of success. And I haven't read her, any of her, biographical material or anything, and to see if that's truly is correct about her. But that story is sort of out there about her. I've heard it a few times, and I don't buy it. I bet she dreamed as a kid of doing something more significant, even if there were quiet moments. Like, I think a lot of times we have like these big connections that we feel into of what we're destined to, or what we could be destined to. And the story goes that, right, many are called, but many do not answer the call. So when something is being asked to be cultivated in consciousness, many souls might be called, and only so many of them will answer. That's why they say when a good idea comes in, often many people are getting it at the same time. So it goes into the ethers to many people because source already knows like a certain percentage of people probably aren't going to respond or not going to do it. Maybe source already knows what your decision is going to be. Who knows, right? There's no way we can tell. That source is like some one intelligence that's thinking about these things. That's ridiculous too. But we're trying to talk about these things in some sort of way, right? So many are called, but few answer the call. So if you want to play the game of looking in your charts to see, and if it says you're meant to be a star, then great, there you go. There's your evidence. Or if you take one of these, it's called wealth dynamics. Some of you may have heard of it before, but it's a test that shows you kind of what type you are, and as far as like how you operate, are you more of a, like there's all these different types. There's a star type, there's a mechanic type, and other types. And so if you're strictly more of a mechanic, does that mean you're not meant to be a star? I don't know. I would really question that. So, because if you actually have it in you, you feel like you want to be in that bigger spotlight, I think you've got to pay attention to that, and the great thing, the wonderful thing about that is if you're called into that and you answer the call, this idea of like, am I worthy is usually the biggest thing. Am I worthy to play big and be a big star in the world? Am I worthy? The only way you'll ever be worthy is just to decide that you are. Oh no, but I need more therapy. But no, I need more clearings. No, but I need this. I need that. Well, mostly because you believe that's what you need. Now, I'm not saying that's not going to be helpful and you shouldn't do those things. No. But I'm saying, like, to use it as an excuse not to raise your game and just say, hey, I'm worth it. And then to do your own inner work, first and foremost, and always, regardless of getting clearings or not, and then just show up as the star you are, that is what's going to create it for you. For me, like I was called Mr. Invisible in high school, right? I mean, so I totally was dimming down my light, as a kid. And I know I still have my own growth still as a star, but I became more and more visible eventually, when I got online doing this work in the world as a spiritual guy, as a intuitive business coach, as a life coach, as, all the kind of roles that I played and continue to play. It's, I had to decide that I wanted to be more visible and be the big spiritual rock star kind of guy. And again, yeah, I'm not well known by countless people in the world or anything like that. Don't necessarily need that, but if that's what I'm called to, ultimately, that's great. Yeah, like many people that feel called, yeah, I've had visions of being in front of huge audiences and stadiums and all that stuff. And so much so that it feels like it's already happened. It's like in the cosmic record. So I know there's a timeline for it. There is, that I may or may not step into. And I will balance all this discussion with, and at one level, I think it's okay, whatever I decide. If I decide I'm not going to do it, trust me, life will move on, right? Other people will start stepping up, or they won't, or whatever's going to happen is going to happen. In a way, it's kind of okay, but it kind of sucks for me. Sucks for me on whatever timeline I'm on. If I don't take advantage of opportunities to feel more expansion, to experience more of who I am, and to cultivate those aspects of myself, right? To claim my starlight, to claim the empowerment and the awakening that I could bring to other people, for an example, or and to support the greatest life, to support their greatest growth in every area of their life and in their businesses, and as men and as women, as all these things, as healers, etc. I love contributing in all these sorts of ways. There's so many ways I like to contribute. And right now, I love sharing through the podcast. I love serving my clients that are spiritual rock stars on the rise, or established spiritual rock stars that we're preparing them to go to a whole nother next level of impact. And therefore, yeah, their business grows, the revenue, the money, and everything that comes with that. That's what I'm called to right now. And then I have plans, I have projects, I have different things I'm doing that I'm choosing to do those things. I will be a high-paid speaker, that's sought after. I am already that. I am. So those are the affirmations I make. I know it works because I've done it before. I've done it before in building a successful business to a higher level, to a higher level than, the vast majority of businesses in the space. So able to do that because I chose to do so. How do you become the one that's the leader? Is it because I have more wisdom? Is it because I have more power within me? Is it because I have such gifts? I'm such a channel, I'm such an intuitive, I'm so psychic. Is it because, we could go through the whole list, whether it's me or someone else, or we look at their character, oh, is it because of their voice? Is it because of their charisma? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Because of their looks? Is it because of their brains? Is it because whatever? Yeah, but you look at all those things that are just like the easy things to look at and say, oh, that's the reason why they're so great. It's because they're blessed with a God-given voice of the angels. Like when we see some of these singers, whoever you like out there, I don't know, whether it's been Whitney Houston or whoever, or somebody, or modern. So it makes me think of the movie, right? What is it called? A Star is Born, with Barbara Streisand, and then Lady Gaga did that one too. Is it really born? See that idea? See how much persuasive that is, persuasive, as they say. It makes you think like that's how it is. A star is born, but a star is born by you consenting, by you saying yes to it. You've got to say yes to it. Oh, but I was never encouraged as a kid. Oh, but everybody told me I'd never be able to make it. Oh, but for me, yeah. And a lot of the other people are shining in a big way, have exactly the same stories, but they chose anyway. If you wait for something external to happen to show you you're meant to be a star, it's not going to probably ever happen for you. It's never going to show up. Oh, you're ready. You're ready to be a star. The only way you're going to get that message anyway on the external is because at some level you became receptive enough to the idea. Because there's probably people telling you that already. You're meant to be a star. How many people have told you that already? You're meant to rock. You're meant to go to a whole nother level. Stars are made in that regard. You choose it. You choose it. Now, there's a lot of ideas about what it means to be a star, and is it ego, like that whole thing. Is it ego, or is it ego to play smaller and not shine your light at a higher level? I could argue it either way, right? Oh, you're so in your ego, just thinking of your own comfort and playing it small, and oh, you're so egotistical because you think you're so much better than everyone. You should shine more than others. You should feel bad about that, not shine in a big way. No, you should go with your God-given desire. That's a God-given desire to want to help people, to uplift them, to serve people. And that is the reason why you would be called into the spotlight. Your ego may show up, then that's what you need to work upon. That's one of the reasons why you would want to be in the starlight, is if that were to rise up, is to work through the material that may come through that. Then there's the idea, well, I might have to work really hard. I'm going to have to work endless hours. Some of these stars are really relentless, right? I'm on that track. like Will Smith, right? Like we see these people that fall from grace and we're like, well, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like these stars. And whether it's a Trump or like trying to keep this diverse, I don't know, or I don't know, out of all the women out there, who would be somebody you might want to be like or not be like, whatever it might be, but all these different names, but I don't want to be like them, I think is a big thing. And it just seems like a lot of the sound about that is with men, I guess, seems like, but there's a lot of women stars out there. I don't know. People say they want to be like Oprah, right? Like I think people tend to more say they want to be more like, women tend to want to be more like the women stars, and maybe not always. I don't know. I'm not a woman, so, but yeah, I want to be like them, or I don't want to be like them. But the thing is you showing up in your spotlight in your unique way may or may not look anything like someone else's path. May have shades of someone else's path in the world, maybe, right, to some degree, but you've got your own unique path. So you can't even put that on it at all. Like, well, this is what I know it means for them. You don't really know. It's transparent, or increasingly more transparent, I should say. They're not transparent, but increasingly more transparent that the biggest stars might be at times. We still don't know a lot about what their path is like. There's still a lot of things that we don't understand, and we could never understand, even if they let it all out of the box. So we just don't know. We don't know what it's like. And so to have judgments or preconceived ideas of what it means is insanity of the mind again. A lot of times our own mind or ego or whatever you want to call it says, oh, let's not give in to this thing, the ego. And it's the freaking ego that's creating the story. So it reminds me of in politics. I feel like getting into pairs of opposites, with all the it's so funny, the dichotomy, but like, okay, actually the other people, we're the good guys, and they're the authoritarians, they're the people that are like Hitler, the other side. And the other side says the same thing about the other side, right? And maybe they both are more like that, right? Like both sides might have that. Both sides might carry some of that, or really carry it. And honestly, it's often used as a tactic to hide any culpability that they are that, right? So maybe I'm diverging a little bit here, but my point is, with all these tricks being used in the media, not just, politicians maybe tend to be the worst, right? As far as like all the shadows and weird stuff that they show us to give the image that they want to give you and the message they want to give you, etc. But it's true too by other people in the spotlight, to varying degrees. So we don't really know what it's like. Yes, I'm sure there's true confession books and people being real. Okay, but even then, I'm saying we don't know. So, but I can just say for myself, I've been in the spotlight. I've been a bit of a star here and there, right? So I won't, overstate, the level. And then I've also been in that space and then pulled myself back. And what I learned is I prefer the spotlight, and I think the only thing that would keep most people from just stepping right into it is only your ego. Your ego is saying, even though you keep being called to it, oh, maybe it's just ego, so let's just stay where I am. So that's my take on it. You have to choose it. If you look at people that become very impactful in the world, for better or worse, they often, even maybe it is the source is just downloading it into them, then it's the sense they chose it. I don't care, but that happens for people sometimes. They willingly choose against what was given to them, right? Whereas these people go with it. So they'll say, hey, I'm going to sell out that stadium. I'm going to be a star there sometime. Or Jim Carrey writes out a check for 10 or 20, I think it's $10 million. He's going to get paid for a movie, and then it happens. Or so he chose it. And that, the singer, I think it was Bruno Mars, sell this damn stadium out. I think he used another word, but I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's going to happen someday. And then it happens, right? So it comes from a sense of boldness. So when I make bold declarations, and sometimes I share them with people, sometimes they're just private, but I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then when you're really clear about it, and you stand in that, and then you move from that energy, those things will happen if you stay with it, of course, because they don't always happen overnight. Usually they don't. Usually it's over months, years, maybe even a decade or two, right? Maybe decades, but eventually the divine tumblers come into alignment and unfolds. And spiritual rockstar way is, of course, is to follow the guidance, to follow your deeper presence with everything. But what I'm here to submit to you is a lot of people think they're doing that, and they're listening to their fears and saying, who am I to shine so brightly or more than others? And maybe it doesn't matter anyway. And then I did say, like, well, in some ways, maybe it doesn't matter in a way, but then again, it sucks for you. It sucks for all the people that you could be supporting and helping. You never think like your voice doesn't matter. I listen to many different voices in the world just because I like to get different perspectives. And without the varying contrasts, life's just not as interesting. And I'm not having a sense of, I guess, we call it learning and things like that, but the experience of that, getting varying energies and viewpoints and perspectives and support in from various frequencies, the frequency flow and integrations, and how that affects my awareness and my consciousness. So I always say the more people that get in it, the better. Like some people say, there's way too many money coaches out there, and who am I to say I want to be the most famous money coach in the world, let's say, or whatever it is. Like, who am I to say that? There's tons of people already doing that, and who needs it, and the world needs it. There's so many of them because there's such a need. That's why there's so many money coaches. That's why there's so many. So whatever it is, whatever your excuses are, the world is, as they say, it is true. The world is waiting for you to continue to just rise. It's not like the world, meaning the consciousness on the planet, I should really say. The consciousness awaits, it knocks upon you. It's not doing it for nothing. It's not asking you to take these steps for no reason. It's asking you to choose to go in this direction. That's it. I'm selling that thing out. That's it. I'm the highest level, multidimensional healer ever. Or that's it. I'm bringing conscious awareness to everybody through this thing that I do, or whatever it is that you make a declaration and that's true to you. That's not just some made up mental, or again, ego. I don't know, again, that word is so tricky, but it's not some just made up construct that you come up with mentally, but it's something that speaks to you, it keeps coming to you, that calls to your whole being, your deeper whole being. Like, this wants to happen through me, and you say yes to it. That's it, the highest level possible. Boom. And that's it. Say yes to it totally. So that's what I'm here, is just to help encourage those of you that are on the rise and those that want to go to your next level. Yes, it can be for you. You can choose it. You can choose it in the way that it calls to you. Because a lot of times we're not listening to the way it calls to us. We're going to our own subconscious programs. Oh, well, I guess I'm a star, then I'll be like, maybe I'll be partying every night, or I'll be up late, with all these stars, and I'll have lots of money, and I'll lose my way spiritually. And if I made money because I was sharing spiritual messages, I get twisted because I want to make a lot of money and be famous. That's a risk. Everything's a risk. Like everything's a risk. Well, what about the risk of not showing up and not just going authentically with what vibes for you and letting it rip and not going to the concepts around just letting it rip? Okay, so let it rip, let it rest in peace, and let it happen. Let it flow, let it fly. You're you're an awakened one if you're listening to this at some level, right? Your awakening, yes, will continue to unfold. It'll unfold in the most beautiful and dramatic ways, probably, most likely, most assuredly, if you continue to want to rise in your starlight and shining that in the world. And what you'll find is a sense of soul satisfaction that's hard to understand until you start experiencing more of it. And that's what I really love to see happening for people. Because I'm here, I'll just say, I mean, I'm here to help those of you that want to rock, those of you that want a partner, want somebody who can be a guide, someone who can inspire and lead or guide you or help you with knowing like what is your unique theme, what is your thing, like, and if you kind of know what it is, to get it clearer, get the message, the theme of it clearer, get the platform set in a way that speaks to your soul, rather than so often we just, even when we're more awake, I see it all the time, people very advanced spiritually, they still get very caught up in their heads. And again, myself included at times. So like, so we need that support, we need that help from the people that we trust, that we want to get that support from. So whoever that is, I totally sincerely, I'm just looking to help those people I'm meant to help to rock it at the highest levels as I continue to grow and expand in my own starlight at the same time. We're doing it all together, because the more we can all be in, the more that we can fulfill that which is deep and meaningful to us. And that way we bring that fulfillment into the world, into the consciousness, so that it gets to be received. And that's invaluable. So I want to be a part of that. I salute you. Okay. And if you don't want to be part of it, I salute you as well, in that you're making that choice, but make it from this awake place. You're making that choice, and that's your choice. If you're called though for the higher thing, the so-called higher thing, or whatever, being the starlight, I don't believe everybody is meant to do it, by the way. Don't feel less than or different or weird that maybe you don't choose that and doesn't call to you. Then you're not called. If you're not called, then don't worry about it. And then maybe you don't know if you're called. But so my point is, if you want more help with it, reach out. I'll just end the show with that. Reach out to me. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I've got opportunities for you there. Meditate, make money. Always tell you about that. Get that free meditation. Get yourself open and clear, and downloading what wants to unfold for you. Also, you can get an energy scan from me, a Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan, so we can see what it is. Are you called? What are you being called into? Let's flesh that out. Let's take a look at through that session. So, and maybe beyond, perhaps, it's a possibility. So you can check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. So I so appreciate all of you listening in collectively, as those spiritual rock stars that you are, as you rise up in the way that you're called to, whatever that is. Again, it looks different for each person. It's not exactly the same for each person. As you step into that, the more soul satisfaction, the greater fulfillment in a deeper way unfolds through that. And let that matter to you. Let it matter to you. If it does matter to you, some of you are going to say it doesn't matter to me, and that's fine. That's where you're at. That's maybe your truth right now. But if it matters to you, step into it. Okay, everybody. So grateful to share with you all. You get to choose. Am I being called to be a star? Then step into it. Okay. Lots of love and blessings to you all. And till the next time, keep on tuning in though, and I'll keep on rocking it here. And until the next time, just keep loving yourself and keep stepping in that starlight.
Listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.